Because, of course, nothing in this case can just go normally. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Disclaimer. Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. The 911 call. Let's talk about all of the insanity that has gone on with the 911 call just over the past few days. Now, I did a live last night where we went over a few things and talked pretty much in depth about the situation, but I felt like it was needed to do a smaller video so that I can make sure that people are understanding what's actually going on here. Because even though the 911 call is out, even though it's being shared, I've shared it, all kinds of people have shared it and listened to it, it is still technically under seal. Let me break this part down. So this past Friday on March the 14th, a lot of people started reaching out to the prosecution office, to the defense office, to Ada County, to Latol, to Moscow PD, to Whitcomb, to all kinds of agencies trying to figure out why we had a 30-second clip of something that was under gag order still in Idaho circulating from a certain YouTuber's page. He came out, Gray Hughes, came out and stated that he heard the call. Well, no one believed him. I didn't believe him. The majority of the world didn't really believe him because what? Because it was under seal. The only way that he could have it is if it was obtained technically illegally by a leak happening in this case. Now, another YouTuber also claimed to have it, and I will admit that I was wrong about him possibly having the actual audio, and we'll get to why here in just a second. So because no one believed Gray Hughes, because he wasn't showing an email stating where it was coming from, and he was saying certain things like how he had to get permission to prove that he'd actually heard it.
I was given permission to play a little bit of that. I'm doing it because I need people to realize that it's actually real.
You don't need permission if something was given to you via a FOIA request, via the Freedom of Information Act request form being submitted, being approved, and you then getting the information. You can do whatever the hell you want to do with the information at that point. The only permission that you need is the access. You obtaining the files is the permission. So automatically, anyone claiming it was from a FOIA, it wasn't making sense. There's no way that both things could be happening. You don't need permission for anything that is publicly available, which is still why I say might be wrong about the turkey boy. Now, eventually, the exact same day, which would have been later on Friday evening, the full 911 call would be released by 4 News Now, which is a local station to the Washington, Idaho area. But a lot of different things happened in between there. I'm going to go ahead and put the emails up that I actually sent off. I opened the very first page of the 2025 page of the Idaho v. Kohberger case on the Idaho Case of Interest site and just sent this email to literally everyone on there. Because at that point, me and several other people were under the impression there was a leak. There was a leak. This thing is under seal. I also actually got Eliza's email incorrect, so I had to correct that. I forwarded over to her. Then I forwarded over to a few other emails. One very specific one being the one for the actual Kohberger case contact information over at Ada County. They actually have a very specific email address and phone number that they request that you use when trying to get any information regarding the Kohberger case itself. Now, I had sent off all these emails and hadn't gotten any responses. There were a few people claiming they called the courthouse and they were saying that it was still under seal, but nobody was really showing proof of anything. And we do receipts here. So I went ahead and tried to find a different kind of contact number for someone over at Ada County. And I ended up seeing that they had a chat. So I had a little conversation and I'm just going to go ahead and insert it here. So whenever they went to like tell me who they were and then stopped, because at this point, as you're gonna see after this is over, I assume this was like some sort of like foreign country call center situation. Okay. I thought that this person went to like type their name and then realized they needed to give me a name of somebody that actually worked at the courthouse and they weren't going to do it anytime soon, that they had to look for it. That's why they stopped typing. And so I thought the conversation was over, so I cut it off. That's why now when it's going to start back up, you're going to see there's already a name, and now she's like connecting me to her supervisor apparently. Now, whenever I got the website link sent to me when I asked a certain very specific question, I deal with insurance companies all day, okay? So I have to talk to a lot of people that do not live in the United States that I have a huge language barrier issue with, all right? Sometimes that's via a chat, whether it be for United Healthcare or any of those other insurance companies that have a chat option on their provider portals. You can tell whenever you're speaking to somebody from the States and whenever you're speaking to somebody who doesn't. So whenever I started getting these responses, my instant reaction was this is some sort of call center situation for the chat. Because those exist where people are just being paid to be in some remote location, most likely in another country, because that's how it usually works. And they're answering chats and doing operator type services and giving blank answers that are basically done and programmed a certain way. All they have to do is go and type in a few keywords. I mean, honestly, at this point, AI and technology has gotten so advanced, it probably just pops up a bunch of like, here, pick one of these responses based off of what you've said because they have some sort of program reading the conversation and actually answering for them. That's how a lot of this stuff works. So whenever I got just the website sent to me, that's why I was like, do you not work at the courthouse? Like the whole thing was odd. Like you are not answering me like you're a real person in the courthouse that can answer questions. So that's why it was just a little bit strange. But nothing on the chat says that that's only for civil cases. So that's why I was getting the responses I was getting, because there's no indication that this person actually wouldn't know anything about this situation and that they're just advised to send you to some website. It says Ada County Courthouse. It doesn't say criminal or civil, so I didn't think it really was going to matter. So after still not getting really an answer whatsoever, I decided to go ahead and call the number on the Ada County website for the Kohberger case directly, and I had a phone conversation. Now, I will say I'm in Texas. Texas is a one-party state. I recorded that conversation just so you guys can see how the phone call went, and you can see that this woman in the courthouse on the phone with me, answering the number directly for the Kohberger case, didn't know what I was talking about. Okay, so we're going to call. We're going to call.
Thank you for contacting the Trial Court Administration Office for the 4th Judicial District. For case information or to pay a citation, press 1. For a video court link or to speak with someone in the Court Administrator's Office, press 2. To request... Wait while I transfer your call. Thank you for calling the TCA office. Your time is very important to us. Please hold until the next representative can take your call. Thank you. Thank you for holding. Court Administration, how can I help you?
Hi, yes, I was hoping somebody could help me figure out a situation that's going on in the Idaho 1122 King Road case with the 911 call audio. Are y'all aware that there's audio circulating right now?
I don't know of that. Did I send you, my name's Tia, did I send you an email earlier today?
I haven't received actually any emails from me, asking a couple of questions. I've sent a few emails out, but I haven't actually gotten any responses. That's why I decided to just go ahead and call.
Which email did you send that to?
Well, I've sent a few out. Specifically, I sent one to Kohberger case at adacounty.id.gov.
Okay.
I've sent a few, but I haven't received any responses. I'm looking at my email box now.
Okay. I do not work those email cases, but I know who does. I mean, those email boxes. Mm-hmm. So I will have them read those emails and get back to you.
So are y'all aware that there's audio going around when it's still...
I am not aware of that.
Okay.
But I will let, whoever takes care of those emails, let them know.
Do you know of another number I might be able to call and get some clarification? Because there's audio going around, and the big issue that a lot of people are having is that it's being ran through programs that can detect whether something's fake or not, and it's getting an over 90% rate of it being an AI. And this person has now let it play out on News Nation, and now the entire world that watches cable TV has heard Ashley Banfield play it, and also claim that it's been authenticated by News Nation. But that's not really the case because of everything that we understand. This is still under seal. So either it's being AI created now that the transcript is out, which we kind of predicted might actually happen. We had an AI situation in the Idaho case already before it was ever transferred to y'all's court. There was a YouTuber named Joseph Morris who took a DV incident that happened with a Twitch screamer years ago and tried to play it as audio in this case, and it was found to be fake, and he had to admit it. And the woman came out and said, this is my audio. I don't know what's going on. So this has sadly already happened. That's why we're trying to get some clarification, because right now the internet's sort of on fire with this problem.
Okay. Can I get your name and phone number? And as soon as my supervisor gets in, I can have her call you back.
Okay. My name is Julia.
Okay.
And my phone...
Okay, as soon as she gets back in, I believe she's at lunch right now, but as soon as she gets back in, I'll give her the message.
Okay, all right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Now, a few minutes after I got off this call is whenever I got the first email telling me that this was actually still under seal, under Hitler's order, and that they were going to be abiding by that order per Idaho law. But they did also state that other entities had control or possession of like a copy of this audio, so they can't really say what somebody else might be doing with it. It wasn't but a few hours later where I ended up getting another response basically telling me the exact same thing from a completely different person over at the Ada County courthouse. This audio of the 911 is still under the gag order per the judge's order, and they were going to be abiding by that. But again, there are other entities at play here. So just getting confirmation that it was still under seal sort of proved my entire point. Someone gave Gray Hughes and possibly Daniel this information, and it wasn't supposed to happen. Nothing was supposed to be out. There was a reason why they did the transcript. Now, I'm not saying I'm mad about it being out. It's just proving more that A, the roommates really are not acting the right way that we think that they should be for everything that we've been told so far. And B, there was really no reason for this to be under a gag. It doesn't point to innocence or guilt of literally anything. And if you notice, the girl that ends up taking over the call towards the very beginning, someone being too drunk from the night before and not waking up is a more forethought about the situation at hand than, oh yeah, they also said they saw a guy in their house last night. You know why that was such an afterthought for that person? Because that's how the girls told the story to the people that they summoned over to that house. Dylan didn't really apparently seem to give too much crap about apparently seeing someone if the entirety of the people involved in this situation came in more concerned about the alcohol consumption. That's because that's the story that was relayed to them. That's important. Now, 4 News Now is actually an affiliate or another name for KXLY, which is again another local station in the Washington, Idaho area. They ended up releasing a letter from an attorney's office that they received whenever they actually obtained the file. The two were together. Basically, it states that their request has been denied for several reasons, or not denied, but not fulfilled for several reasons, starting with the dissemination order, the gag order, and different things that happened and certain dates that they're giving, saying this happened in court and this is why we never responded. And then this happened in court and this is why we still couldn't respond to you. But then this happened and that's whenever we took things into our own hands. See, the way that the story is being told by Whitcomb is that since they're actually in Washington, they weren't really quite sure if they were supposed to follow the gag order rules that were set out by Idaho. They're not Idaho. They're Washington. So they apparently asked their own Supreme Court to rule and make a decision on how they were supposed to actually abide or not worry about abiding by this gag order. And for over 2 years, it's just been sitting there pending with no responses. So whenever Judge Hitler decided to redact instead of seal, which is great, we need way more transparency in this situation. The more, the better. There's been too much secrecy. We can definitely all agree to that. But when Judge Hitler decided to redact instead of seal, that meant that Whitcomb felt that this whole gag order thing and them not being able to release the audio was no longer relevant. Them releasing the transcript was null and void in their eyes. So they, in their own words, made the decision then and there that they were going to start fulfilling requests. I don't know if that's exactly accurate, and let me explain to you why. Now, while I do agree that with the transcript coming out and there being so much more chaos coming from the questions coming from this damn transcript, that releasing the call was the right thing to do. I very much do agree with that sentiment. But the problem is that I feel like the way that the letter is dated and what's being stated here feels more like a cleanup. Now, Steve Goncalves, which is the father of Kaylee Goncalves, who, for those who might not know because you're new here, is one of the victims of the Idaho student murder case. He came out on News Nation and admitted that he had this call before authorities were releasing it to other people.
Authorities gave you that tape before the rest of us. You've had some time.
These slow leaks, this torturous process that we're going through, they've done a better job. They've responded to our feedback. We have said, hey, the 911 call is not something that we want to turn on TV and actually see. So they have responded.
For those of you who do not know, Steve Goncalves talks to a handful of YouTubers out here, Gray Hughes and Daniel from Drunk Turkey being two of them. Some of you know that Christy Goncalves actually did an interview with Daniel from Drunk Turkey a long time ago, and that's whenever we found out that Hunter Johnson was called over to the house because Xana's door couldn't get opened. The girls called him over to help, and once the door got open enough, he saw what was inside, yelled, "Get the F out, call the cops," or call 911, and then the 911 call was then made. The story is a bit different in the 911 call. It seems like the situation of the door being popped open and him seeing anything that gives him that sort of get out reaction is happening after the 911 call is already in process. So that gives a whole nother set of questions to the actual situation that took place. Now, you have to also remember something. Steve came out whenever the transcripts came out and said something along the lines of that Christy, his wife, Kaylee's mother, couldn't handle this 911 call coming out, that she'd never wanted it to come out. And that was a questionable statement to make just randomly, because as far as we knew, there was no mention of Kaylee. Now, while I understand it would be a difficult thing to listen to because you know what actually is going on in the scenario, to sit there and say that you hoped it never came out is really odd, especially since the majority of us remember that whenever they were getting ready to go and arrest Bryan Kohberger, we were not aware of any of that. As a matter of fact, the day before they actually announced they had arrested somebody over in Pennsylvania, Chief Fry was literally standing in front of the Moscow Police Department with the sticker on the window and everything showing the MPD badge, saying that they were thinking about releasing the 911 call. When in reality, he knew damn well that Detective Payne and a few other people had already landed in Pennsylvania and were gearing up to get ready to watch whatever was going to end up happening on a screen through a drone camera. Now, I go back to Daniel from Drunk Turkey and Gray Hughes. And people can complain all they want to. I don't like liars. Okay, if you are going to lie about something one time, then I'm instantly not going to believe you about anything else. See, having an opinion about something does not mean that you are a liar. But whenever you are making a statement of something that you own, that you have, that you're trying to prove, and you fail to do so, and your story keeps changing, that's a problem. Now, the reason why I say Daniel might have had the audio simply because we actually know for a fact he talks to Steve Goncalves is because his story did not add up to Gray Hughes' story. Now, they were basically live at the exact same time talking about hearing the audio. They maybe went live about an hour or so different of each other, give or take. Daniel came out claiming that he had had a FOIA request approved and that he was working on the audio but refused to release it or let anyone listen to it until after the mainstream media got to release it first. That's already sketchy, and a lot of people know that he has been very misleading in the way that he presents things, and he's already been a big disappointment in a lot of ways. A lot of people do not trust him. The boy who cried wolf is a life lesson for a reason. But when it comes to Gray, like I already said he had permission to play a certain clip. And again, if you received something via FOIA, you don't need additional permission to do literally anything. So it doesn't add up. Their two stories don't even match. And the only reason why Whitcomb now has letters coming out dated March 14th of 2025 and not around March 6th of 2025 whenever they made this decision is because they knew they had to act because now a clip was out and it was time for damage control. If you don't like my opinion that I've come up with about what's going on here based off of the facts, the coincidences, the timing, the past behaviors, then I don't really honestly care. You can leave your little comments. I'm not even going to respond. I'll let other people respond to you. We've seen these behaviors already. We've seen the Goncalves family come out and say one thing and then turn around and do another. Steve came out and acted as if Christy Goncalves could not handle the 911 call coming out and then helped spread it around themselves.
My wife has said from the very beginning when hopefully the 911 never came out. Hopefully the 911 never came out.
I would love for someone to prove me wrong that can actually prove me wrong with receipts, not just telling me that I'm an asshole. This letter dated when it's dated and the situation happening at hand and the fact that Steve Goncalves is out here admitting he had it, using words like leaks, he knows what he's already been responsible for. He knows. And again, this is my opinion. But that is the lore of the 911 call. Because, of course, nothing in this case can just happen normally. It has to be this crazy huge, what did Steve call it? Hollywood script? It's a lot of talk for somebody who's trying to make a series with Netflix. But that's really it. Let me know how you guys feel about all of this insanity that's been going on just surrounding the one item, which is the 911 call. And I don't mean the insanity of the call itself, but go off about that too. I just mean how it came to be, how the public ears actually got to finally hear it, and the ridiculousness that surrounded it. And by the way, I had every right to be sketched out, and so did everyone else when it came to an audio coming out in this case, because anyone who's an OG knows for a fact that we've already had a fake audio. We had somebody named Joseph Morris, because I'm not scared to like name drop and call people out. I will do it all day long as there's proof behind it. I don't give a damn, okay? Joseph Morris took a DV situation that happened with a Twitch streamer years before this, manipulated it and messed all around with it, and then released it as audio in the Idaho case, acting like it was the event itself being caught on camera. And it was fake. It was completely fake. The Twitch streamer that was actually in the audio itself came out and addressed it. It was fake. So, whenever we've already had situations like that, we have every right to question where something else is coming from, because I be damned, we just start believing every little bitty thing again like we didn't learn something. So again, let me know how you guys feel about this ridiculous stuff down in the comments. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out, subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already, and please don't forget to make sure that that notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives. See y'all.